All right, what's up you guys? It's Makai with Limitless North, and I want to show you what I have as far as my gold and silver portfolio. What does about $60,000 worth of gold and silver look like, and why is it in my portfolio? What am I doing with all this? Well, behind me, you can see what my portfolio looks like. I'm going to get into the details with you on what I have, why I have it, why I'm making the moves I make, and also just talk with you a little bit about my investment strategies. Now, I'm going to do another video where I go in depth into what all I'm investing into, what decisions I'm making for myself, but here's the overview. I don't feel like cash is a great place to be right now. It is the depreciating asset, and gold and silver is an appreciating asset. So moving some of my money out of my bank account, out of greenbacks into gold and silver is a way to hedge against inflation, against the devaluation of the dollar, and against any unknowns that might come down the pipeline. Now, I truly feel that we're in a very unprecedented time right now. If you look at it, we have printed $9 trillion last year, $1.9 trillion this year. Another $3 trillion gets put on the table, or $4 trillion gets put on the table 3 weeks after we print $1.9 trillion by the Biden administration. So it certainly looks like for the next 4 years, we're going to be printing money hand over fist. And I do not want all my assets in cash, in dollars, which are being devalued. Last year alone, we lost about 13% of the value out of the dollar. And you have almost every major investment bank and economists talking about the dollar losing another 15, 20, 30% of its value this year alone. So the dollar is becoming more and more worthless. On a global scale, we don't know what that's going to look like. We have China vying for world reserve currency. We have a very unshaky ground here in America, which I never thought I would have to say in my day and age, but unfortunately it's true. And the economy in whole just looks a little too shaky for me to keep all of my money in a bank account invested in dollars, right? And again, the dollar depreciates. That's called inflation. Right now, we have some inflation fears. If you look at the price of groceries, it's going up. You look at the commodities, lumber, any kind of food, gas, things like that, going up as well. Our everyday costs are going up because of the money printing. Now wait until the economy opens up and all those dollars that did get printed start to hit the economy. That's only going to increase inflation by most people's guesses. So that is the very reason that I am in gold and silver. And that's why I continue to invest in it. Now, it's not my only investment. Like I said, I'm going to do another video where I walk you guys through my big picture, my portfolio, what all it looks like. But in this video, I want to show you what's in my gold and silver portfolio and help you understand why I'm making the decisions that I'm making. All right, so let's get into it. Behind me here, you see an array of silver and an array of gold. Now, just to walk you through what's here, I wrote it down because there's a lot to count here, right? But I have about 313, 314 ounces of silver. Some of them are fractionals and yada, yada, yada. As far as gold goes, we're looking at about 21.3 ounces of gold. Okay, so if you just take the melt value, today's spot value, that's somewhere about $46,000. Now, if you actually take the actual true asset value of what's on the table here, we're gonna be a lot closer to 60, 61,000, somewhere right in that range. And I'm gonna explain to you the difference. Okay, so if you Google what is the price of gold or silver today, you're gonna get what's called spot value. Now, spot is really what Wall Street assigns to gold and silver, right? When it comes out of the ground, they have to have a way to track it and trade it. So they do that so they can trade it electronically and institutionally. It really represents the paper value of gold and silver, right? It's the futures contracts at the commodities exchange, all right? So that's not the true value of gold and silver when you're dealing with physical assets, because from there, gold has to be pulled out of the ground, refined, processed, minted, and then shipped around. And then you have to take into account supply and demand. So there's always going to be a market value above and beyond spot value. Now, there's a couple of different assets that you can invest into with gold and silver. On one hand, you have numismatics and collectibles. That's for coin collectors, right? You're looking for one coin or one type of asset that is going to appreciate in value significantly over the long haul and has a much smaller market for liquidity, because you have to find somebody that wants that very specific thing that you have and is willing to pay a higher price. Now, luckily, in this day and age, there's a pretty big market for just about anything that you want. So if you're a coin collector, there's some great options out there. It's not necessarily me. I do like certain elements of the coin collecting, but that's really not investing for me, right? So I may pick up something here or there that catches my eye that I'm excited about. It's not what we're talking about in this video here, okay? So next, we have what's called common bullion. Now that is really minted by all the major government mints. Bullion is just a term that really defines gold or silver assets that are worth their melt value in gold and silver. They're not really supposed to be worth much more than their melt value, okay? And melt is pretty much correlated to spot value. That's gonna be things like your silver American Eagles, okay? Very standard, very common coin, minted in the hundreds of thousands and millions. You also have from the UK, your Britannia, beautiful coins. You know, they're great, but really all they're designed to do is be worth that melt value. So this, at today's spot value, is about $26. Right now we have a supply crunch, and so you see the price of gold and silver going sky high compared to the actual spot value. So the market value on this, it's gonna be somewhere 32, 34, right in that range, okay? Because there is no gold or silver available for the most part right now. The shelves are emptying at rates that we have never seen before. So it's good to have this in case you need it. Assets like this, common bullion, are great for spending. If you ever needed to liquidate, you pay a low entry cost to get in, kind of throw your premium away because you're waiting for spot value to move back up. But if you need it, it's there, it's accessible. You don't have to wait for it to earn its value back over time like you would a coin collecting, right? Now the third asset that we have is called limited production. These are assets that are minted by the major government mints, but they're minted in much smaller quantities. And they're actually designed to be worth more than their value of gold or silver at the melt value. Remember, common bullion worth its melt value. Limited production assets are worth much more than their melt value. And actually they have a second driver for growth. So the market value or the spot value goes up on gold and silver. These will become worth more, right? Same with your common bullion. But the second factor of growth on limited production is going to be that time element. You don't throw your premium away on this like you do the common bullion. It actually stores the premium. It's baked right in, and it will earn that back over time. And so typically if you're looking at a 3 to 5 year hold or longer, these are great assets to get into because really it's going to be the most value for your investment. So if we look at limited production, here's something from the US Mint. It's called America the Beautiful. If you look, it's a 5 ounce silver piece and it looks like a giant quarter, right? So really cool. They did the America the Beautiful series on these, a great asset to have. I've got a handful of them, right? Then you have something from the UK. Here's your Silver Valiant. This is a 10 ounce piece. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's got St. George and the dragon on it. Very cool, right? We've got a variety of those. Next you have the Queen's Beast series. Again, 10 ounces. Beautiful, beautiful asset from the UK Mint. I love these. These are some of my favorite. So that's what we're talking about when we say limited production, right? And I also have things like the 1 ounce Noble, right? It's from the Isle of Man. It's not necessarily a limited production, but there are not very many of them available. And so this cost me about $40 months and months ago, half a year ago, even a year ago, okay? So you're paying a premium on these, but they're gonna stay worth more than just the melt value gold and silver. And again, I have the Queen's Beast series. If you look at that, I'll just take it out of the sleeve for you. I don't really like to touch my gold and silver a whole lot. I do have some gloves, but for this video, I'm just not gonna worry about it. So you have this, it's a 2 ounce coin, Queen's Beast. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Beautiful, beautiful asset. Designed to be worth more than just its value of gold and silver. And these guys sold out so quick that, 2 ounces of silver, you're looking at about $50. These are going for about $180, $150, $200, $300 for some of them. And that's how these assets are designed to perform, right? So if we're not talking about the economy collapsing and needing to barter with gold and silver in a pinch, that's good for common bullion. If you're looking at keeping your money invested in gold and silver for the long run, limited production is a great way to go, all right? And I strongly believe in that, which is why I have what I have here. All right. So that gives you guys a good summation of gold and silver and the different types of asset classes. You have numismatics and collectibles, you have common bullion, and you have limited production, semi-numismatic, semi-bullion. There's different terms for this, but it's the same idea. Numismatics and collectibles would be worth much more for you way down the road. We liken it to buying a mansion in Beverly Hills, right? High cost of entry, but high return over time. Problem is, long-term time horizon, much more liquid market. Common bullion, it's like buying an acre of land out in the desert or the forest. Nothing wrong with that at all. You're just not going to have as much demand on that. It's never going to extravagantly increase in value for the most part. It's just going to be worth what it's worth. Good hedge for inflation. Next, you have your limited production, private assets. These are like buying an acre of land with a beautiful home overlooking the ocean in Malibu or overlooking the Alps, somewhere. There's a lot more demand on it. There's a reason you can get more of a premium out of it. So it's a great asset to go into. And that's something that we kind of just talked through. What do I want out of my investment here, right? So I like to have a variety. I think it's important to have a diversified portfolio. And I'm really just having a lot of fun getting into gold and silver. I think it's an important time to be in it. One, I think we're going to see big inflation coming down the pipelines. That scares me to death about where the future of this country is going. We have China vying for world reserve currency. As I said, they're releasing a digital yuan, and it's actually backed by gold, which is terrifying because in the US, as you know, our fiat money, I've got a 50 here, it's not backed by anything. It's backed by the good faith of the people and the government, right? Which, if you really look at how we've been the last couple of years, I don't feel that sentiment is all that strong anymore. And if we're printing 46% of the money supply in circulation in the last 13 months, that doesn't make me feel good about our future, right? So we're seeing the sentiment across the board, more Americans than ever before getting into gold and silver. In fact, January was a record month in the history of the US Mint. So if that tells you anything about where people are going, yeah, it should, okay? Now you have the stock market is a bit of a casino, cryptocurrency, I love it, right? But I'm not gonna base my net worth on something that goes up 300% in a day and can also fall 300% in a day, right? I love it, I wanna be invested in it, but I'm just not gonna base my net worth there. Dollars, as we said, are a depreciating asset, so I don't know that I wanna base my net worth there either. Now I do wanna stay in cash enough that I can take advantage of situations as they come. Opportunities are the way to wealth, right? But you don't want to stay in all cash and watch the value sink out of it. So what do? Hence the gold and silver, okay? So I mentioned that I have about 313 ounces of silver and I have about, 21.3 ounces of gold, including what I'm wearing around my neck here, but not including what I got on my wrist and some other stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna just show you the couple of different assets that I have. These are really cool. I have 20 of these. They're actually from the Great Britain Myths and Legends series, and this is Robin Hood. And I don't really want to take it out of the package, but hopefully you guys can see that. It's got the Queen on the front, Robin Hood on the back. Now, I get my gold and silver from a variety of different sources, and we can go on that in another video if you want, but for now, we got the Queen's Beast series. I wanted at least 2 of each of these. I think they're just incredible assets and I wanted to have them, so that's the coin collector side of me getting into it a little bit. You guys can look this up on your own. I don't need to bore you with every single one, but you got a variety of different animals, basically. The Queen's Beast on here. I showed you the dog already. Then you got that guy. That's pretty cool as well. All right, so a lot of different variety here in my collection. The nobles, these are one of my favorite ones. If I could buy a ton of these, I would. They're just really hard to find, and I've got a couple of them, so happy for now. All right, I got about 7. If you look at the Silver Britannias, right, really, really neat, beautiful. They're a little bit cheaper than the Silver American Eagles. Now, the Silver American Eagles, especially right now, have almost entirely sold out across the country, so they're very hard to get. the premium on those is sitting right around 38, 37, 38, even $40. So you're paying a significantly higher price to get into an asset that's really only supposed to be worth its melt value. Now, one reason you go into limited production over the common bullion is limited production will actually remove you from the manipulation that Wall Street can do with melt, right? If we talk about spot value or melt value, Wall Street can liquidate, or institutions, Wall Street's not a person, but the institutions on Wall Street are taking very risky moves right now. They're invested in options and they're leveraged to the T. And if they have a drop in the market and they need to cover a margin call, they liquidate their paper positions of gold and silver, which pushes spot value down, right? But it has nothing to do with the physical asset value. When Wall Street liquidates a whole bunch of gold and silver paper contracts, what does that have to do with this? But unfortunately, it does impact the so-called value of common bullion, whereas limited production has that buoyancy built in from that premium. So it removes you from the volatility of Wall Street spot value a little bit, which is nice. But again, if I need to barter, if the economy collapses, I'm going with something like this that I can just trade straight across. Now, I've heard, and maybe you guys can confirm this for me, in Venezuela, with the economy just completely collapsed, the bolivar being worth absolutely nothing, people are feeding their families for a month on an ounce of silver, and they're buying homes with an ounce of gold, right? So I start to think about what could the future hold for us. I certainly hope and pray it doesn't go that way, but if it does, or if it ever did, or if we ever needed it, that's why I have this, right? I want to plan for the worst and hope for the best. Now, this is one of my coin collections, right? So these are really cool. If you look, it's the same thing that I'm wearing around my neck here. This is a Hamburg. It's a 20 mark coin from Germany. Just really, really neat. Now, I made one of these from a Pfennig, which is a German coin back in the day, and it was silver. And I wanted one in gold, and so I ended up making this. And the reason I did that, it kind of represents some family stuff to me. My great-grandparents coming over from Germany in the 1800s, and just some history there, and it means something to me. There's a meaning that I put onto this, and so I found this silver one, and it's it's a big mark, and I just thought that would be really neat to have. Okay, so a little bit of coin collecting. I do have some first day of issue 2021 silver American Eagles. Now, whether or not these are worth it, I couldn't tell you, because again, I'm really not heavily involved in the coin collecting market, so I don't know what I paid for here, other than I thought it would be cool to have it. And again, if you don't know what you're doing with coin collecting, you probably want to get some education on that. I'm more of a metals investor, right? So I have all these different coins. It's kind of grouped by country. So I've got America here, I've got all the UK stuff back here, Isle of Man. These Valiants are really neat. Now, these come from the St. Helena Mint. That's the oldest mint in the world. St. Helena, it's in Papua New Guinea. These are very cool. And again, here's that St. George and the Dragon, the Valiant, right? Very cool. All right, next we have Mexico. These are the Libertons. So these are really hard to get your hands on. They're just sold out everywhere. They haven't been minted in quite some time. Well, actually, I guess I stand corrected. That one is 2020. But there's just not a very big stock of them going around. So I have another 5 ounce of that, you can see. And I just thought it'd be really neat to have these. Then you have your Krugerrands, all right? These are from South Africa. They're a really neat asset. But again, common bullion, really just designed to hold the value of silver. I've got the 2 ounce Canada Goose. Now, I wish I could find more of these. I've only got 2 of them. I think they're so cool. I would love to have more. They're a very neat asset. Usually anytime you buy anything that's not just an ounce of silver, this is your silver Canadian maple leaf, common bullion, anytime you buy anything that's not just an ounce, when it's 1¼ ounce, 2 ounce or more, you start getting into the limited production side of things. So that's just a good way to kind of keep track of it. You may pay a little bit more of a premium on those because they start to earn that premium back and they're worth more than just their melt value. Here is the Philharmonic out of Austria. So again, I've got a wide variety of different assets here from every major government mint, or most major government mints. And the reason for that is exactly what we're seeing right now, a shortage of gold and silver from the US Mint, which puts a very high premium on it. These silver American Eagles are selling for $40. It's unbelievable. Now, I can't get that if I take them into a coin shop and sell it back, right? But if I go sell this on eBay, I can get $36, $37, $38, $40, $42 an ounce for it. So Canadian maple leaves are only selling for, I don't know, 33, 34, right? These are selling for 38, 39, 40. So you get these upswings in popularity or demand at times, and so it's nice to be well diversified, okay? Last but not least, let's talk about the bars that I have here. I'm not a big bar guy. Okay, I've got 2 of these 1 ounce bars from the Asahi Refining, and then you got Johnson Matthey. You know, there's some people that love bars and they love different mints from that. Not a big bar guy. And the reason for that is bars have the lowest resale value. So if I were to take this bar in, probably not even gonna get spot value for it. Most people are gonna give you spot and then take some money off the top for themselves, some fees on that as well, and I don't like that. I would rather go with the coins. Plus, bars, after you get to a certain amount of them, you have to file 1099s when you liquidate. Most people want more privacy than that. So this was a gift to me. It's a 10 ounce Royal Canadian Mint. This is really fun. I really enjoy this one. If I could get more of these, I probably would have some fun with bars like this. 1 ounce bars, I'm just kind of not about it. These are the exception to the rule. These are the Valcambi bars, okay? Very, very neat. They come in 100 grams here. It's like a Hershey's bar. You can break off a little gram at a time. If you ever did need to barter with silver or gold, they've got a gold version of this. It's a 50 gram bar. This is a 100 gram bar. They're just really neat. They're kind of fun to have. I like the idea of them. So that was actually something that I bought from a friend as well that had it. And then let's get into the gold, okay? So what started my journey, randomly enough, was the Hattons of London. I bought these small quarter sovereigns, okay? It's not even a 10th ounce of gold, but bought it for like $119. I got 2 of them. Just thought they were really neat. This is limited production assets. They're, you know, guaranteed to sell out every time. And I just thought, yeah, it'd be kind of fun to have a little bit of gold, and that's not a very high entry price, so why not get some? And so I did, and then sure enough, you just get addicted to it. And I started really looking into it and thought it was very appropriate and important to get some. So here we sit. Now, start with the gold bar. I have 1 gold bar. It's just a 5 gram. Again, I'm not very big on the bars. I do think these from Pamp Suisse are just incredible. Beautiful asset, beautiful design, so I like it, but not all that up on the bars. Now I've got 1 ounce coins, right? Here's your gold American Eagle. 1 ounce coins are gonna be your least performing asset aside from the bars. They're really only designed to hold the melt value of the gold that's in them, and they're never gonna be worth much more than that. Now, gold American Eagles right now are catching a very high premium because of the supply and demand, but again, the spot value is very manipulated right now. In a normal market, that's not gonna be the case. Spot will be very close to the actual asset value. But in today's market, spot is being pushed down. We're seeing more physical buying than ever before, and people want to get their hands on gold and silver, and they can't, and so premiums are going up. Okay, so I've got a couple of gold American Eagles. I've got the Robin Hood series from the UK Mint as well. It's got the Queen on the front. Let me show you that. It's got the Queen on the front there. So I got a couple of those. The gold American Eagles, if you look, I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Do you see the color difference there? All right, this is pure gold. This is 24 karat. It's 4 nines pure, 99.99% pure. Okay, the gold American Eagle is actually 91.67% pure. That is 22 karat gold. Now, the reason for that is they have copper and silver added to it. So it's still 1 ounce of gold. It's just a little bit of a heavier coin, and they added silver and copper on top. So you're not getting less gold, you're just getting copper and silver added to it. And they do that for durability. So remember, back in the day, this used to be real currency. People would carry around gold coins, use it, spend it, drop it on the floor, dent it. You didn't want to lose a chunk of your gold by dropping it and smashing it, so they made it a little bit more durable so you could jingle them around in your pocket and not have to worry about it. All right, so gold American Eagle, 22 karat. Most other assets, 24 karat, pure gold, okay? I've got some, there, I dropped one. I've got some Queen's Beasts in the gold. Again, I just think these are really, really fun, really cool, and so I wanted to get them. I have no idea what this looks like for you guys. If you can see it, it's shining well enough, but I hope it is, okay? So I've got a couple of different, we've got 3 gold American Eagles. All right, so a couple of different assets there. I've got the Britannias. Really, when you're buying common bullion, just go with the cheapest one. For the most part, get whatever is gonna be the cheapest cost of entry for you. Unless you have some reason for doing otherwise, that's typically a good rule of thumb, because why would I pay, I don't know, over $2,000 an ounce for a gold American Eagle when I can still get other assets for about $18.80 or so? You know, that's kind of my thought on it. Then you have half ounce. Now I've only got one of these. I need to start adding some more fractionals to my portfolio. The reason people buy half ounce, quarter ounce, and 1/10 of an ounce, aside from the fact that obviously they're cheaper and easier to get into if you don't have a lot of money, is that people want to liquidate less than an ounce of gold at a time, right? If gold goes up to $10,000 an ounce, I don't want to liquidate 10,000 at once. I want to liquidate 1/10 of an ounce for $1,000 and spend that as needed. I want to leave my money invested in gold as long as possible, because if gold reaches $10,000 an ounce, most likely that means we're in very high inflation and the dollar is losing value every day. So I don't want to get out of gold. So you get into the fractionals, which have a higher cost of entry, right? A half an ounce, you might be looking at $1,200 or $1,100 to get into it, when a full ounce should be about $1,900 or so, or $2,000, right? So you pay more of a premium to get into the fractionals, but they have a higher resale value and they actually perform better because, again, supply and demand. People want the fractions. Here's your quarter ounce. Got a couple of these, I believe 6 of them. And then you have 1/10 of an ounce. Now this guy is the Britannia. I've got some gold American Eagles in that as well. So 1/10 of an ounce, about the size of a dime, a little bit less. Pretty neat, you know, good to have, but I don't really want a ton of them. I'd rather have some of the higher fractionals and just 1 ounces for personally, just because that's what I'm doing here. I do have a 1/3 of an ounce, which I really like. It's the polar bear from Canada. All right, and then we have the sovereigns. Now, these are from the UK. This one's in brilliantly uncirculated proof state. I really think these are neat. These have, let me just get this straight. Sovereigns are about 0.2354 ounces, so almost a quarter ounce here. All right, and they have a little bit of collector value to them, so you're not just gonna pay the quarter ounce price. Then I have the Helvetia from the Swiss francs. All right, so this is a 20 franc. And this is, what do they have? About 0.1867 ounces of gold in there. Okay, and I've got 8 of these. Got the French roosters, which same story, same weight, it's 20 francs. So back in the day when this used to be currency, this is what they were making. All the different European countries had their own version of it, and it was kind of standardized with the weight and the purity. So these are 0.9 pure, 90% pure. I've got 7 of those, and those are some of my favorite ones. I think they're just very neat. If you saw my other video on my portfolio on the gold and silver that I bought, I really go into depth on that. Then I have some of the ducats, right? So Netherlands ducat, these are really neat. I've got Austrian Corona. This is 100 Coronas. No, 10 Coronas, my apologies. And then, last but not least, we've got these, the Hamburgs, okay? That's what I'm wearing around my neck. Now these are about 0.2305 ounces, so not quite a quarter. These are all from the early 1900s, late 1800s. That, they should be about, I don't know, $400. If we're talking a quarter ounce of gold, gold's at 1800 spot value right now. That's gonna put you at 450 for those, right? You can't get these for less than 700 right now. They're not available. I was lucky enough to get 16 of them. They're just beautiful, beautiful coins. Really, really high demand, very limited availability, right? So it's kind of the same thing as that limited production. You can't buy these for less than $700 right now. They should be worth about 400, but instead they're worth 700. So you see that premium stays built into the asset. As gold and silver go up in value on the market value, these increase in value significantly more than your common bullion. As gold and silver drop in value, these don't drop as much because they have that premium built in, which creates buoyancy in the marketplace, right? There's a floor that you kind of bounce off of. You keep your value more. So guys, that's my portfolio. I guess last but not least, I didn't show you the germanium mint. This was kind of neat. Not all that big on gimmicky things like this, but it was kind of cool. I like the idea that they put a lot of effort into their packaging, even though I don't really need it, and it wouldn't cause me to buy more just from the packaging. But this is a 2-ounce coin, very limited production. You can see it goes right into there. Certificate of authenticity. It's from the germanium mint, the allegory series. It's kind of cool. I'm glad I have it. I wouldn't pay a whole lot extra for that right now. Maybe down the road I'll buy some more. But here's the thing, guys. That is my portfolio of gold and silver as it stands right now. Again, if you just take the melt value, we're somewhere around 46,000 or so. If you actually take the actual asset value of most of this, you're upwards of 61, maybe a little bit more. And that's not what I paid for it. That's what I could get for it on the market, right? So paid much more for it. At this point, waiting for gold and silver to bounce back up. If you really are watching, there's a lot of conversation out there about, is gold worthless? Is it just a relic of the past? What about, Bitcoin? Isn't it all about Bitcoin right now? Why don't we just stay in the dollar? This and that. Guys, at the end of the day, gold has been around for 6,500 years of recorded history, right? It's always been valuable. It always will be valuable. The central banks are buying more gold than they ever have. In fact, Russia just bought $4 billion in one day, I believe it was. China opened up its borders to $185 billion worth of gold this last month. They're bringing in more gold than ever before. It's because they're getting ready to make a move, and gold is the thing that currency is based on, or should be based on, right? He who has the gold makes the rules. That's the golden rule. So if you don't have any gold or silver, I don't know, let me know. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this. I love Bitcoin. I would never say don't go into Bitcoin, right? But a lot of people that are all about Bitcoin say don't go into gold, and I think that that's foolish. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Why don't you leave that in the comments down below? Tell me what you think. Go read some of these articles about China releasing its digital yuan and having it be backed by gold, and what that could devastatingly mean for the US and our role in the world, our role in the world reserve currency, our economy. At the end of the day, China's buying more gold and bringing it in. What happens if the US starts having to buy gold and put it in Fort Knox? Because in 2008, 2009, guess what? There was no gold to be had. It was all being bought up. They went to Fort Knox to go look, and there was no gold for good delivery there. I'm not saying there was no gold in Fort Knox, but what they had was not acceptable for the commodities exchange. And so we don't have gold to be traded in the US like China does, quite the same way. Even though we're supposed to have more gold reserves than any other country in the world, I read a really interesting article that breaks down how China probably has about twice as much as us, right? Let's not go into details on that right now, but go read some of these articles. Read about the new digital currency that all of the central banks are designing. Read about the value of gold and silver and what causes it to increase. We're in an economy right now where we have a recession on the table. Gold typically will double and silver will triple during times of recession, usually over the course of 2 to 3 years. So we're primed on that. We have more money printing than we've ever seen. If you throw money printing into that equation, 2008, 2009, great financial crisis, gold tripled and silver grew by about 478% over 3 years. Right? So we have more money printing than we've ever seen. And then you have the devaluation of the dollar. Ray Dalio came out. He's the largest hedge fund manager in the world, right? Billionaire hedge fund manager, saying, I project the dollar to lose 15% per year moving forward. That doesn't make me feel confident staying in the dollar. And then you have low interest rate environments. So gold and silver thrive when interest rates are low. And 4 times in the last year, the Fed has stepped on the scene and said, don't worry, we're not going to raise interest rates for the next 3 to 5 years. Because why? We're in a recession. If they raise interest rates, people can't get access to money quite the same, and so the economy shrinks, right? So they can't raise interest rates because we need the economy to expand, not shrink, coming off of COVID. So for the next 3 to 5 years, interest rates will stay low, which means nobody wants to go into bonds. Nobody wants to be in the banks earning no interest and losing money. So gold and silver are a great asset that grows when interest rates are low. So guys, that's it. I hope you learned something today. I've been busy. I've been working hard. I'm well on my way to getting some really cool goals financially and otherwise accomplished. And I don't post quite as much as I'd like to on this channel, but I'll work on that. We'll bring more videos. I'll tell you about what I'm investing in, about why. I'll keep you updated how my portfolio grows. I challenge you to think about maybe picking up some gold and silver just in case. If you have some money sitting in the bank and you're not going to do anything with that for the next couple of years, it's much better to have a piggy bank like this, in my opinion, than a piggy bank sitting in the bank losing value, right? That's it, guys. Great talking to you. Enjoy the video. I hope you did. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and again, leave some comments down below and let me know your thoughts on this. If you have gold, I'd love to hear what you think about my portfolio. If you don't have it, what do you like the most? What do you want to start picking up? Let's talk about it. Have a great day. God bless you guys. Makai with Limitless North. Talk to you soon.
Hi, I'm Makai Block. Welcome to Limitless North TV. I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You might ask yourself, why should I? Every week, I'll be developing and delivering quality videos focused on helping you become a high-value, high-achieving entrepreneur, to earn more and increase your income, to build and grow your wealth, and to make insightful and impactful changes to the way that you live your life and run your businesses. You will be challenged. You will be inspired. I will motivate you to hit that next level in your life, to overcome your obstacles, and to quit struggling through your mediocrity. But most importantly, I'll be developing and delivering strategies and ideas, tips, tricks, habits, and tools that you can begin implementing in your life today to see the success and the change that you've been hoping for. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss a single episode, and I will see you on the next one. I guarantee you, and I promise you, that you won't regret it. Welcome to Limitless North.